Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame, and this is the recap review for The Chi. If you watched my previous video, y'all already saw what this shirt talking about, but here you go, just in case you didn't. On the back, it actually says, God is dope. Anyway, I love this shirt. Of course, I love the color scheme and all that good stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this recap review. So, uh, if if y'all actually watch this, y'all will know that I did not do a recap review on this last week. Something out of my control happened, and it threw me all the way off to the point of where I was just like, I can't. When I finally was gonna be able to start trying to record, like it was like a day, two, possibly 3 days later. So y'all, I was just like, I'm tired. So basically, this is what happened on the last episode, and then we're gonna get into what happened on this episode. So Kevin is still in his feelings. He tried to link up with this girl named Lene that he met at one point in time while he was out trying to get a video game that was sold out. They ended up playing video games together. He felt that he was gonna be able to shoot his shot, got shot down. She wasn't here for him. She was just like, I don't see you like that, but we can be friends. She gave him her number, and he and his feelings, because it's like, not only did you get dumped by this heifer over here for your friend, but she just was like, oh, I had fun hanging out with you playing video games, but I don't see you like that. Emmett is in his feelings because his wife is out here enjoying herself a little bit too much. And like I told y'all before, I feel like this situation should not have ever even started, because she living for the side dude more than her actual husband. And they shouldn't have ever got married to begin with. It is what it is. But this last episode, they tried to do something as a couple, and they went out to this sex party that she was hosting. Dom was supposed to be there, but her plans fell through for whatever reason. And she ended up, she was like, I'm not trying to fumble this bag. So she went and hosted it. And reluctantly, he went, but he actually enjoyed himself. They didn't do anything with anybody else, but it was a very interesting situation. And yeah, whatever. Papa is in his feelings because Maisha was like, I need time away from you. I need time to myself. You doing too much. And he is doing everything he can to try to get her back. Every time you look up, he is fawning over her pictures. And even though they are on a break, if you will, he is in his feelings about it, and he don't want to lose her. And in his mind, that is still his queen. I was about to call that girl by her real name and can't even really pronounce it myself. Keisha is in the process of learning to be a mother because she went and got the baby back from Octavia. Yeah, so she's stressed out, but old boy at her job still living for her, even though she probably feels a certain type of way, postpartum kicking in, and all the traumatic stuff that happened to her when she was kidnapped. That's pretty much it. But let's go ahead and get into this episode. Oh yeah, Duda, he's out of the hospital, and Trig had to let some people who he knew for the longest in the streets go as a part of the entourage / bodyguard and all the other stuff or whatever, and they was in their feelings, but he had to let them go. And Imani is happy because it is what it is, because it's like essentially he ended that connection / friendship for his woman and his future, because it's like he lived for her, so it's like, I gotta do what I gotta do. I got to go home and live with her. It is what it is. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Child, Emmett in his feelings. He at the house by himself. You know why? Because his wife out here thotting bopping. She out here thotting bopping to get her entire life with a whole other man. So anyway, it's raining. It's raining down all over the city. And Love Jones is on. And apparently that is his movie. And that is definitely Keisha's movie. So it just so happened to be about to be at the part that is her favorite part. And he calls her on the phone and told her Oh, he texted her. She didn't respond. She barely responded, and then he ended up calling her. And so she turned the TV on, and they see the scene play out. And she was like, I really needed that. Thank you. He was like, well, I understand. I know that you don't really be having time. You don't watch TV and stuff like that. So I get it. I understand. So they had their little bonding moment. They are just friends. So I'm like, I don't know. In my mind, I really hope that nothing gets, I mean, I don't want nothing to get rekindled. I'm sorry, because he really tried her when she was in high school. Like, he really was trying to smut her out. And I was not here for that at all. Wasn't here for it. So anyway, Tiffany, his wife, is out, like I said, thotting and bopping. She done got towed all the way down to the ground. And old boy, he ain't much better. They out and about. And so she tried to tell him to be quiet. And he all loud. And so Emmett getting his feelings was like, where you at? You need to come home. And so she was like, no, I'm too far away. Don't worry about it. He was like, nah, I'm gonna come and get you now. So old boy keeps saying little slick stuff in the background. And I'm just like, girl, I don't understand. You spend more time with him than your man. What is the point? Like, there is no reason for y'all to even be married at this point. I didn't understand the point of that anyway. So it is what it is. So he got to just deal with it. So the next morning come, we see somebody cooking breakfast, and it's Emmett. So she drag in, hungover still, and it's like in his mind, he's trying to think of what are ways that I can do to keep my wife. So he done cooked this breakfast, and he was like, yeah, I know you're going to be hungover, so this is the perfect hungover meal. He knows exactly how she like her eggs cooked. This fool even said, do you want some coffee? And, it got to the point where he was like, I want to do all these things, and he can't do you like I do you. I know you better than he know you. And I even made your coffee the way you like it. And her coffee, apparently, the way she likes her coffee is like him, the way he looked. I was like, I'm tired. Okay. So anyway, he was like, before you eat, go take a shower. That'll help you to make sure that, since you hungover, you'll have a better chance of keeping your food down and all of that, and help you to, it'll kind of help you anyway to get some of the drunkenness out of you. I was like, child, I can't. So anyway, Papa just set it off, and he done rolled up on Maisha's house. And I think he had a conversation earlier with Kevin and told him that, he misses her and wants to be back with her. And he knows that even though she puts up this front like she hard and that she's just everything and very secure within herself, she is very now I'm not gonna say insecure. She has moments of self-doubt or whatever, and she gets very emotional. And so he was like, since she blew up, people have been in the comment section trying her and all this other stuff. And so he felt the need to go over and check on her. So she opened the door, talked to him and all this other stuff. And so she was like, I'm all right. And so he was like, well, I know you're not all right. I saw how they've been saying what they're saying. And so you could tell by her response, she's in her feelings about the things that have been said about her in the comment section. She politely thanked him for coming by, and she told him, don't call me queen and all this other stuff. And he was like, no matter what you say, you're going to always be a queen to me and my queen. So I was like, I'm here. I live. I get my entire life. I love it. So anyway, child, Papa, he trying to handle his business over there. Apparently, Emmett done hit him up, and Kevin had hit him up and told him to meet him at work, which is at Smokey's. So he like, man, what's wrong with you? Why you got me coming in here so early? It's dead in here. Like, ain't no reason. And so he was like, well, I need relationship advice. I got things going on, and I'm offering a peace offering of some free food. He was like, first of all, that ain't no peace offering, and don't you value my advice enough for you to actually pay me? Like, what is going on here? So anyway, everybody like live for his advice. Like, even though he's a child, he is everything. But yeah, it is what it is. He was just like, really, bro, you doing the most. So it's just to the point where Kevin wants to know if he should try to still pursue anything with Gemma and, what he got going on. And I'm just like, bro, how about no? How about no? And he wants to actually plan Maisha this party to kind of cheer her up or whatever. So they gonna go shopping for some stuff. Keisha is at work, and oh boy, that's a whole vibe in my opinion. He, peeping out from across the room, and so he come over and talk to her, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" or whatever. "How's everything going with you?" And so she says she's stressed and all this other stuff. And so he's like, "Well, I'm not trying to add to your stress. I would like to take you out." And she was kind of like, I mean, and then like the way he said it, it came off like kind of negative because he was like, "You look like you need some time away." So she was like, "What you trying to say?" And he was like, "You're gorgeous, but I could tell that you got a lot going on, and I want to help take your mind off of that." Like, this dude is y'all don't understand. Like, a whole lot of y'all might be like, "Man, he corny and whatever." See, dude's like, he's on this whole episode. This man was on my type of time the entire time. Everything he said, everything he did, that's on my type of time. I'm the type of person that it really don't take a lot. It really does not take a lot to show me that you're interested genuinely and that you like what you see or whatever. And the pursuit, the way that he's pursuing, y'all, I am all the way here for it. So anyway, they gonna try to see what things gonna go, but ain't nothing official yet. So anyway, now Kevin popped up on Maisha, so she looking like, "Okay, I know Papa sent you here, so you can go about your business." And so he gonna, at first he tried to lie and say, "No, he didn't." And so he was like, "Well, yeah, he did. But I got somebody to ask you anyway." So she invited him in the house and they're talking. And so he was like, "Do you think I need to try to get back with her? Because you know what the situation is." Child. She was just, gave her usual advice and was like, "First of all, you wouldn't have never got the shine and the recognition and all this other stuff that you got had it not been you dating me first. So I know that you a good dude, and it just is what it is with that situation. I don't know about all of that." So I was like, I'm here for it. I love Maisha. I love her. And so they both were basically like, because of me, you got this quality now that everybody live for. And so he was like, "Yeah, I see you blew up all of a sudden after we broke up." And so she was like, "Boy, I've been the same way since before we was together, so don't even try it." So it is what it is. So anyway, Trig had popped up at Smokey's to get something to eat. And so Emmett was like, "Man, you already know good and well I told you don't pay when you come up in here." And so he was like, No, that's all right." And he was like, "No, you don't pay when you go up in here." He was like, "I'm going to support Black-owned businesses. Take this money." So he took the money. So they talking. And so he he basically was like, "You good?" And he was like, "No, man, my relationship is like iffy right now." And he basically told him the whole situation, which is that he's in an open marriage and it's not all what it's cracked up to be. And so he was like, "Yeah, all you gotta do is work with what you got." Like, cause he was like, "She like all that expensive stuff. He got money and I don't. I mean, I bring in an okay amount of money here at this place, but I ain't got the type of money he got. He can take her on all these lavish trips. I can't do all of that." So he was like, "Well, you got your heart. You know her better than he do. So you know what you need to do." So he was like, I got up, I cooked this breakfast for her this morning, hoping that it'll keep her home." And he was like, "Well, did it?" And he was like, "I don't know." He was like, "Man, what you mean you don't know?" Like, they had a whole nice little conversation. I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. So anyway, now back at the job, at the Goodwill knockoff or whatever they want to call this place. Old boy done rolled up and asked her out on a date. Well, no. He already has been making his intentions known. So then, it's like she kind of playing hard to get, but not really. You get me? So some girl came in and she was looking at them from across the room and saw their interaction. Like, they hugged each other. Like, they had a long conversation. Then they hugged and then she left out. So then she rolled up and was like, "Who was that?" So she was like, "Oh, that was an old friend." And so she was like, "Oh, well, how long ago was that? Is that your ex? Like, what's going on with that?" And so he was like, That's somebody I knew from middle school. And yeah, we dated when we were kids, and that doesn't count because that was way before we were 18. But it just is what it is. So, it just got to a point where she was like, well, I trust you. And I'm like, well, you ain't got no choice. Like, he is really making his intentions known. Like, he ain't giving you a reason to not trust him. Like, I love people like him. Like, there's this dude. The dude I keep telling y'all about that's in the military. He does a whole lot of the same stuff that this man does. It was so crazy that just to like hug me, he would like ask if he could hug me. He would ask if he could do like the smallest of things. And I'm looking like, why you ain't gotta ask me that? Like, what? You're not invading my space, but that's how much of a gentleman he is, and I'm gonna get there. But it is what it is. So anyway, look, I'm here for. I'm on that same type of time. I'm here for that. I'm here for all of what is happening in this episode. So anyway, y'all, tell me why Emmett then came home and knocked on the door, and so Tiffany is there doing yoga or whatever and meditating, and so she looked out the peephole and was like, "You need to use your key. What's wrong with you?" He is dressed up like Taye Diggs, or what was his name? Not Taye Diggs. I don't know why I can't think of that man. Larenz Tate in Love Jones. And so he's acting out that scene that he was talking to Keisha about earlier that day. So she catch on, and so she started acting it out and all that. So he ended up like taking her out on a date, and they went to various places. I was like, oh, they went out dancing, went to a comedy club, and all of that. Like, it was a whole vibe. And so the comic, at one of the parts, the comic was like, what kind of situation y'all got going on? I bet that she over here screwing all these dudes or whatever. So he was like, man, ain't even like that. That's my wife. And so he was like, well, how long y'all been married? I think he said 11 months or something like that. And so he was like, look, I'm funny. So I bet that when y'all go home tonight and have sex, she'll be thinking about me. Like, he was just doing a lot. And he actually did hit a couple of nerves. It is what it is. I was like, oh, okay. All right. But they ended up having a really, really nice time. And the festivities are not over. And we'll get to that later on. So Keisha ended up calling old boy. And so he was like, he answered the phone, like the phone barely rang. She was breastfeeding the baby. She was like, let me just call this boy. So she called him. The phone literally barely rang. She was like, it barely rang. He was like, look, I ain't about wasting your time. I know what I want. Like, he said it off. I was like, boy, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all, I am so nerdy. I can't help it. Y'all forgive me. I am so nerdy. But anyway, he is definitely on my type of time. Oh my gosh. So anyway, she was like, I don't like surprises. Just tell me where we're going. And so then she was like, no. I just, never mind. Don't tell me. So he was like, I was hoping you'd say that. So then when he came, he had like this bike, this motorcycle or whatever type of bike it was. I guess it's some sort of a motorcycle. And so she was like, I ain't getting on that. So eventually he had to, kind of like tell her, like, I got you. So she trusted it, and she put on a helmet and held on to him, and then they went where they went. So the childhood friend works at some record store, and so he had her listening to awesome music, and he was like, this kind of reminds me of you. And so she starts describing the music, and he was just like full on describing her. They was having a good time. I was here for all of the musical selections in this show, this episode, were on point. Everything. I wish that a lot of them were available now. I'm pretty sure that after the season is over with, all of it will be available to purchase or whatever, so we'll know what some of this stuff is, because a lot of that stuff I couldn't Shazam it. And I was just like, how dare y'all? But yeah, the ones I could Shazam, oh, they a whole vibe. I'm here for it. I already told y'all about the comedian. So now the party is happening. And Papa, he threw this party for her. He went so hard for her that he even bought a fog machine. So she done stepped up. There's a whole line outside. People was really trying. It was like, who's she supposed to be? See, that's what I'm talking about? And then somebody had to be like, look, like, she's the person who the party is for. Like, y'all need to calm down. So she went up in there and she was like, how are we gonna see each other if you got all this fog up ahead? He was like, well, I might have gone a little bit overboard. I apologize, but anything for you, my queen. Like, he went all the way off. And so people are in there enjoying themselves. It got to a point where some little boy is dancing with Maisha. And Papa saw how Kevin was looking. He's sitting down looking crazy because he there by himself. He rolled up on Gemma earlier in the episode when she was at wherever, I guess, her favorite place to get coffee from or whatever. And he basically was like, I want to get back with you. Do you love me? And all this other stuff. And so she was like, Kevin, you're my first love. Of course I love you. I will always love you. But I mean, at this point, this is harassment. Like, because he basically was like, I can't live without you. And she had to be all politically correct. She did the absolute most. I'm like, girl, you're doing the most. She basically was like, what you're doing is harassment at this point. Like, the things that you're saying, it lines up exactly with that. Instead of saying, oh, this is a nice gesture. And I get both sides because it really actually is. But I digress. So anyway, he's in his feelings at the party because he talked to Gemma before he got there. She said it was up in the air as to whether or not she would come. And in my mind, I was just like, girl, if she come, why you think she gonna be by herself? She did show up, but she showed up with Jacob. And I'm like, girl, I was like, Kevin, why did you expect anything else? I'm not understanding why you expected anything else. So he in his feelings. So then he went and found some random girl, asked her to dance, and it was the whole... I was like, you found the most hood girl that you could find in the spot and just started dancing with her. I was like, okay, go off though. Ultimately, that did end the way he wanted it to end because they both were jealous of the situation, and I was just like, whatever. But are y'all gonna get back together though? I don't know. I don't think so. But they were both jealous. And she rolled up and said something about it at some point in time after, the party was over with. Child, Maisha had to tell Papa, we are not together anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do. She gave that man her number. And she was like, you have to respect my space. You have to respect my time. She even had to tell Kevin, like, I'm not going to dim my life for Papa. I'm not going to do anything to compromise what I have going on because of his ego or whatever. I'm not going to stand in the shadows because he's Papa and he in his feelings or whatever the situation may be. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's when we make that mistake. Ain't nobody got time. Y'all, before Gemma and Kevin had their moment, Maisha rolled up on Gemma and was like, I knew you wasn't Ish. And y'all know she didn't say Ish. Oh my gosh, I hollered. I was so done. I was like, wait. And so she was like, what? She was like, you're wrong. You ain't had no business doing that. And why you got two friends fighting over you? And so she was like, I didn't tell them to fight over. I'm like, girl, just shut up at this point. But eventually Kevin and Jacob had their moment to talk. And so he was like, I told you to get a girl, not take my girl. Like, it is what it is. So he apologized and all that, but whatever. I'm just like, bruh. So anyway, now, this is such a cute scene with Keisha and old boy. They're having a moment after they've been out and about. And so she's taking pictures of him because he takes pictures. She was looking at his social media earlier, and you can see he takes a lot of pictures with people. And he was like, oh no, I don't like taking pictures. I don't take pictures. That's so me. I be having to force myself. And I don't like most of the ones I take myself. So it is what it is. But she was like, oh, it's okay. I'm gonna, because it's me, I'm gonna, find a way to make it, make it look good. So you ain't gotta worry about that. So then he like got into it. And then he stood up and was like, started posing for the camera. And, he got into the moment. And then he stopped her from taking pictures and they had a little moment. I guess we're supposed to infer they might have made out a little bit. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So anyway, Papa and Maisha had a serious conversation after the party was pretty much over. And he was just like, I'm supposed to be your man. I'm not gonna sit up here while you hurting and not help you through it. And so she was just like, I need to be able to get through this on my own. Nah, you ain't gotta be here. You ain't gotta do these things. And he was like, so I'm supposed to just stand by and let this happen? Like, I can't do that. You my queen. Child, it's a mess. But anyway, I already told y'all about Gemma doing the most. Child, the end of the episode came and I'm tired of my spirit, and it is exactly what I thought it was going to be eventually. So, Emmett was trying to end the night on a high note, and he actually took Tiffany back to the spot where they met. And, like, where they literally first met. Even though it was like summertime, I guess, hot, it's cold now. So, he actually proposed again and upgraded her ring. She said it was really sweet. And so it's just to the point where he was like, I don't want us to have an open marriage anymore. And so she was like, I like our current arrangement. So I don't know what you're talking about right now. And so he actually put on his big boy drawers and said to her, I mean, I can't be with you no more if you want to stay in this open marriage. It's finna be over with, y'all. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review of The Chi. I might do Family or Fiance. It was draining me just watching the little preview of it. Anyway, y'all, have a good one, and I'll see y'all later on.